Hey everybody, and welcome back to Champ and Sons in our Planet Zoo series, episode number 2. So, to kind of catch you all up, if you did not see episode number 1, we got the entrance plaza built in. I did mention doing a parking lot. You can kind of see it right now off to the top left of the screen, and there's actually a staff parking lot in the top right that I will need to do some detailing work on. I did all of that off camera. I will end up going through and showing that to y'all here eventually once I've kind of got my subway station completed, where all the peeps are going to be coming out of. And so you will get a full view of that. I just don't have it right now at this point because I just want to finish some stuff up. So, what are we going to be doing today? You may be asking yourself. Well, it is an exciting day. We get our first animals into the zoo. And I know you're probably asking yourself, what is it? Is it going to be lions? Is it going to be a tiger exhibit? Maybe bears? Nay, 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 nay. It is something much more thrilling and exciting. It is, drum roll everybody, Flamingos. That's right. We are opening up with the Flamingo exhibit. Now, why flamingos, you might ask yourself? Why not go with the lions or the tigers or, something that's really going to bring people in? I do have a plan on where I'm going to be putting those big cats and big animals, and they are going to be more strategically placed throughout to kind of get people to at least walk through the zoo. I don't want it to be something where they come in, people look at it, that's the highly rated exhibit to look at, and then all of a sudden, all right, they're gone, they're going to leave. So that's why I'm kind of spreading them out to the back and just starting everybody off with something more family friendly in terms of being the flamingos. And just a little heads up, I thought it would be easy, at least easier to do that habitat, and holy Lord, no it's not. Maybe it's just because my brain and habitats don't work together. I don't know. It just was not as easy as what I thought it should be and what everybody probably thinks it should be. But we'll get to that when the time comes. So right now, you may be asking yourself, what is he building? What are we doing? What's happening at this very moment? So it's basically kind of like a little entrance plaza to the zoo. This is going to be a planter / statue type area. Just a nice little centerpiece thing for everybody to see once they come walking in. Kind of stand out with the zoo. I haven't decided if I'm going to put any of the lettering for the Austin Zoo, anything like that on it. I really just wanted to go through and kind of put some statues. Let it be a little bit of a centerpiece for the zoo and for everybody that's walking in. And on the outsides of the curved path, we are going to, that's where the flamingos are going to go, kind of behind the wall, the big tall wall that you're seeing, and a little off kilter to the right there. And also going to basically have what I call our entrance plaza, and our little staff village, if you will, is going to be built there. In this episode, just off to the left side of the centerpiece, we are going to have I'm calling it a conservation center, as well as we're going to get a little peek into the inner workings of the zoo with having a vet's office and one of our research buildings placed right up against the path, so that way people can kind of see what goes on a little bit within the zoo itself. And that I think is a nice touch for people, especially the vet's office having kind of the operating area where they can see the animals come in, you can see any work that's being done on them, any ways that we're able to help them, rehab them, recoup them, whatever is needed. And so, that's kind of what we're putting on for it there. And here I'm just adding some animal statues into our center thing. And I put in the notorious dodo, one of the favorite animals I have to say from Ice Age. Um, you know, people talk, Sid is my favorite, or Manny's the favorite. The dodo is very underappreciated in that realm. So you can kind of see what it looks like finished off there. And it just dawned on me that those were made, the flowers kind of made a smiley face, completely not my intention, but that's just how it ended up working out. So be it. So the building that you're seeing come in right now is what I'm calling a guest services building. I feel like I want to change it. I haven't changed it yet, but I might. And in fact, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on it. Should I make a change to it? Make it more of an actual functional building than just this massive, facade of a building, or should I kind of just keep it as it is, possibly change up the layout, the design? Let me know what your guys' opinion is on it, and we'll definitely probably be making some changes to it in the near future. I just want to kind of get everybody's buy-in and y'all's thoughts on how we should kind of get that changed up. So that is, like I said, it's going to be called guest services. There's no functionality to the building whatsoever. It's not something that anybody that I have any shop set up in. I don't have restaurant, bathroom, nothing like that in there. I do have that in what's going to be one of our more modern buildings to open up this little entrance plaza that'll be coming up next, and that is going to be our conservation center. That one is pretty wide open. It's got a lot of booths, or not booths, but I guess essentially picnic tables for people to sit in and all sorts of things like that. So here I am putting some detailing around the buildings. That's kind of always been one of my biggest struggles for those of you that follow the Planet Coaster series. Probably got a hint of that, I would say. So really what I'm doing right now is just kind of trying to work with some of these pieces. I'm still not used to them. I've had the game for a while, but primarily Planet Coaster has been my thing. So it takes a little bit to get used to finding the right pieces and all that. And if it looks like the camera's jumping around a lot, I will tell you that's because I guess it kind of is. And I had to get this stuff sped up about 8 times what it really was playing. Because there's a lot of footage that comes into this stuff, man. And I know I mentioned it with Planet Coaster, and I probably mentioned it in episode 1, but there are just so many times that the length of time it takes to build some of the more simple type structures, at least what you view to be simple, really take a long time to put together. And so that's kind of what the struggle was for us here. And that's what took it so long. And so that's why it's kind of jumpy, is because it is sped up 8 times. And one of the things I kind of realized that I liked with building design, at least from the episode 1, is that I like to have multiple types of, I guess, building materials, right? So the bottom be one base and the top be something else. And I find that a lot is how things look a lot actually in real life. Like my parents' house, for example, the bottom, pretty much most of it is all brick, but if you look kind of at the back side of it, going up halfway, it's got some of the wood paneling looking stuff on it. So that's kind of what I was thinking about going with there. That's the idea behind it. And I think it does add a little bit of that realism aspect to it. So yeah, that's what I was going with. Here, this became kind of a more difficult part as far as putting these 2 buildings together. I think it turns out pretty well here. It is one of those things that, man, you start playing with these angles, and it just gets to be a little bit tedious as far as trying to fit these things in. So I went with some of the art shapes. I'm going to have to recolor them. I don't know. I just chose a gold color, I think, because it made my life easier. And so that's why I went with that color. And it fills in the blocks, and really, unless you're going through specifically looking up at it, you're not going to notice. I mean, let's face it, looking at the building from the side, no one's going to notice that. And I do love these glass pieces, allowing all of that light in. I just love how that looks. And so I'm probably going to be using that a lot more for buildings that are going to be actually truly functional as far as having peeps go on the inside of them. But I just really love how it looks. And we'll probably have a couple indoor exhibits that require a lot of the glass roofing or glass walls to allow all that natural light to come in. And so that's what I was thinking with those, is just have the natural light so you don't have to worry too much about trying to deal with the lighting that's provided in these games, because that can sometimes be kind of hectic, trying to pick out the right one and all of that. So just putting in the floor, which one covers up the path, but also covers up those empty open spaces right there in the middle where the pathing kind of has those little breaks. But overall, once we're going to get a little bit of decorations put on the outside, and we're going to get a little bit more put on the inside. And so I think it does turn out pretty dang well in the end. So yeah. What I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of let y'all enjoy some of this some more, some of the detailing work with some nice little jazzy tunes. And I will catch up with y'all later, probably once we start really kind of getting to work on that flamingo habitat. So I'll catch up with y'all later. Have fun. And I am back. How did y'all like those nice little jazzy tunes? Some smooth, some a little bit quicker. Just how we roll here on Champion Sons. Alright, so this is pretty much as we're kind of finishing up our, as I call it, our staff village. It's basically just an area for staff only, which y'all saw has some of the keeper buildings and all of that in place there for you. So that's kind of, I'm working on something that I wanted it to be something, real nice for the staff, like a statue, a fountain. And I still could have gone with that, but I got tired of trying to work it, so I just said, let's just add in a different path texture. And then start going ahead and trying to put a little bit of a fence in it around here just so people know. And essentially kind of a way of saying, keep out if you don't belong here. You know what I mean? So that's what we're doing right now. Just kind of outlining this little area. I did decide, forget the path. And no, it's not going to be a statue thing. No, it's not going to be something super fancy. But it is going to be a nice little planted section for the people that work here. There's something for them to look forward to and to look at nicely whenever they come in for the work day or they're getting ready to leave. Something that they can hang their hat on and check out, you know what I mean? So what I'm doing right now is just kind of covering up some of the texture, making things a little bit more whole and more flowy, if you will. This is going to be our little fence section that lets the public know, stay out. I love the fact they have the staff paths on here, which everybody junior, it is designed only for the staff, so that's not something that you have to worry about peeps strolling back there. One, there'd be nothing back there for them to see. So two, it's just the staff only path means staff only, obviously. But it's just one of those things that I just really like having it, and I'm still always going to mark it off, right? Staff only buildings, I'm always going to generally mark it off. So here I am getting set up for the flamingo habitat, and this is going to be a pretty big one. It seems, something about it just seems too small in my mind. Like, it just comes off to me like, oop, nope, way too little. What are you doing? Makes no sense. But I don't know. It is massive, but I think some of the zoos I've seen pictures of when I was looking at, like San Antonio Zoo and their flamingo habitat and all that, man, that thing is really tiny for a habitat. And not only that, it's pretty dull. I guess, yeah, it's got enough space, and I need to add in a lot more of these flamingos into it than what I have right now. But it just seems like one of those things that I think this comes out better than what you see in a lot of real life places. And once again, like I said, I'm limited to where I can go. It's like the whole theme park thing. I can't go to all these massive, crazily themed ones. I go to Six Flags parks. So that's what I get as far as theming. That's my ideas about it. That's what I've seen. And same thing with the zoo here. Really is, the Austin Zoo. Like I said, it's more of a rehab facility. Once they're injured, they get taken care of, brought back to health, and generally they're shipped out to, most of the time, another zoo until they can be put back into the wild. So, they provide them the bare minimum in Austin. Well, if I had my way, I wouldn't want them to have the bare minimum. Let's have them have better. And if Frontier provides us with this massive space, why not use it? You know what I mean? Why not use all the space that we can? So that's kind of my thinking behind how big this huge thing is. Like I said, I did struggle with, you'll see it coming up here. In terms of, there's always these spots that for some reason or another just became super easily escapable for flamingos. And I can tell you this, at one point I didn't think it would be, right? And I didn't think it was too much of a big deal, but I had started putting some of those flamingos in there, and then one of them just bolts right towards the escapable area, just hauls, just hauling full speed, just straight for it. I got a wall put in before it could actually get out, but still, I was quite shocked and amazed by that. And I was still getting used to to a lot of the way the slider things worked on the animal habitat section. Some of the things are pretty basic, but others, it just wasn't triggering in my mind, and I had to fix those things. So that took me a little bit. And I put the natural barrier along the pathway. I didn't think they would be standing up to that. Like, who really would? Who would think a flamingo is gonna jump? I don't know. I mean, what, do they fly? And if they do, now you got to put a roof over them, or else the whole dang thing's escapable, for God's sakes. But I eventually work it out. It takes me a really long time to do it, though. And y'all are lucky enough to see this, once again, at about 8 times the speed. Now, a lot of what you're seeing, okay, just to warn y'all, is going to change from what the final product is. And you'll get a good shot of the final product at the end of the video here. But it's going to go through some massive changes as far as the barriers, the walls, and that one side just keeps annoying me and won't leave me alone no matter what I do. But I finally got it fixed. And so, yeah, it was quite the journey, if you will. I end up destroying the whole damn thing and starting all over again, figuring I can't really go wrong with that because it didn't work out so well the first time, And this was probably one of my biggest mistakes after all the other ones. I should have just deleted the staff path and restarted everything as far as what I was doing there. So I had put in the chain link fence and all that, and amazingly enough, well, I gotta make sure I get all that right. It had already said they had all escaped, so they all got boxed up. So now I gotta bring them back into it was just a massive fit. Trust me, I will be better for the next one. And speaking of the next animal that comes into it, we will do that hopefully in the next episode. I'm gonna try to get at least one more of these in this week for Planet Zoo and work on Planet Coaster next week. So really what I want to know is, let me know what y'all want to see. What animal do you think would be perfect to kind of fit in? I'm down with going with the lions or the bears at this point. But I want to get y'all's feedback. Let me know what y'all think. This is kind of like all of our zoo, really. And here I am just putting in some more of the decorative things. I originally wasn't going to put a whole housing unit for the flamingos. I eventually do. With this one, I kind of like how it turned out. This little halfway cabana cover and all that's going in right now. It looks pretty dang good. Those do stay. I will tell you all this. They do stay. A lot of the other stuff, not so much. But these definitely do. Yeah, that's where we're kind of at. And so yeah, I only have like 8 or 9, like 6 to 8 for me. I need to get a ton more. Here I am working on that little structure. Once again, I end up deleting everything I'm building right now. And I think the final structure I put in off camera. One, I was tired. This was late. And I was getting annoyed. These games can do that. Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo can definitely do that to you. But you will get a good shot, like I said, of everything that we do end up fixing in the end. So you can always look forward to that one. And yep, here's some more. It looks okay, but it's something as I'm building, I'm just like, this just looks really shabby. It just really does. And that type of thing can happen when you just start getting into a game like Planet Coaster or even the Planet Zoo. It's one of those things that's It requires that attention to detail, and a lot of times it requires doing stuff more than once. You know, you have this picture, you think it looks good, but it doesn't always. So that's just kind of the way it goes. If you haven't already and you did enjoy today's video, please remember to hit the like button. And if you are not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. And that way you can follow us on all the Champ and Sons content that we have coming out in the future. So just remember, everybody, as always, thank you for watching and stay safe, and later, y'all.